And in your experience, how long before people start really experiencing a change in themselves when they start this fasting period?
It happens so quick. And
Mm.
it's it's a very quick process. When I start people on the ketogenic lifestyle, I don't start them immediately into the intermittent fasting, just because I don't want to overwhelm them. Like, as it is, they're already like, oh, so I've got to change, what I'm doing and everything else. And I didn't start out that way. So I wouldn't, if I had started out that way, it would have been way overwhelming for me. So I start out with getting them through the detox process of, getting rid of the carbs and the grains and the sugars and all that stuff. And then I tell them in the beginning, just so you know, it's going to happen. I will walk you through it. Don't be scared. Don't start, freaking out, because I promise you, as you're eliminating all these other things out of your diet, all the crap, you will start to go longer without eating naturally. So it won't be this huge leap, and you'll know, and we'll talk about it. And it usually happens by like week 3, that they're like week 3 and week 4, they're like, all right, we're ready. And they've already seen such a huge turnaround in their energy levels, and if they've had any kind of issues with low blood sugar, it usually balances out by then, because they're not having these huge insulin spikes and then crashes. So at that point, when we talk about it, or they'll know, okay, I'm ready to do it. Well, I'll say, okay, if 16 hours, how long are you going right now without even thinking about it? Okay, 12 hours, great. Let's move that to 14 hours and see how you're doing, for the next couple of days. And within a week, people are realizing 16 hours is not that long. And it's really easy to do. And the benefits and how they feel energy-wise, and how the food that they do eat counts. They're making it count, and they're not going for just food just to fill. They're going for food that's going to feed their bodies and get them into that state where they can go longer and be more efficient. It really happens very quickly, and it amazes me, because I knew how quickly it happened with me, but seeing it over and over and over again, I'm like, okay, not a fluke.
Right, right. And this seems like it'd be an amazing time of year to really do this after we've gotten off of our high fat, high sugar diets from the holidays. Now we're looking at how we've probably gained that extra 5 pounds, and we're getting ready for spring. This is probably an amazing time to start this.
Yeah, it really, I think the holidays, it's more the sugar, I think, that really gets to people over the holidays, because there's so many sugar related foods, and you've got the honey hams, and then you've got the cookies, and you've got gingerbread houses, whatever you've got, but it's usually after that. And then people also come out of, I think, the holidays depressed. So you've got the depression of, maybe they let themselves go. But I think what's interesting to me, and I kind of felt this way, was that I had let some things into my diet that I normally wouldn't let. Like, I let a couple of sugar things in here, sugar things in there. And it wasn't the weight, because I gained probably 2 or 3 pounds. It wasn't that was really kind of throwing me. It was my mental state, and it was the mental caused by the foods that I ate, because I am sure that, again, they affect each other. What you put in your body affects your mental state. It might not be the hate, or the feeling like your body's the enemy, or whatever, or that just vicious cycle of eating crap and then feeling bad about it, but really how it affects, like, what it is actually chemically doing to our brains. That was I was like, there's something going on, because I know that this is not normal. This is not, I'm not hating on myself for, lapsing a little bit. I know there's none of that going on. And as soon as I went through the detox process again, got myself back on track, it was like night and day. It was like a light had been turned on again. I was like, yep, it really is the chemical effects that are happening in my brain for me.
And like you say, it's having that kind of the lesser fuel being what you're burning versus the more high quality fuel.
And I really think there's something to that. I mean, I wonder, cars run much better on clean fuel. They get the pings and the NOx and everything else, the dirtier the fuel. Why would our bodies be any different?
That's so true. And so where are you, and have you noticed like a progression from this? Like to me, spiritual is the important part. So, I mean, have you noticed like a has it been a continual spiritual growth for you as you've gone through this intermittent fasting period?
It is, and it continues to be. I think, I really believe that it was like a spiritual awakening for me going through this process. I was very disconnected in my life before I started down this path. Um, Everything was compartmentalized. Like I said, like one health was over here, weight was over here, spirituality really, I struggled with. Happiness was over here. And as all of these things merged, everything grew exponentially. And so it is, and it's continuous. It's like I really feel like I'm vibrating at a much higher frequency. Do I struggle sometimes? Yeah. I mean, like I'm totally normal and totally, I'm human. I've got teenage boys that try my last nerve on
Mm-hmm.
times. And that's when I'm like, oh, they're my spiritual test today.
Mm.
I do absolutely believe that there's this evolution that's happening and an evolving that continues to happen in my life. And the more that I can continue to treat this body as well as I can to my highest ability and give it what it needs, then a lot is revealed. I do think that I'm finding it everywhere. I'm finding synchronicity in all aspects of my life, and that there are no accidents. And I'm calling people into my world that are like-minded. And I know that that's not an accident. I know that's part of this evolution that's happening for me.
Mm. And I love how you see this as like a journey of more than just food. It's a journey it's really a way to take people along this path to, a higher state of being, really.
Yeah, and that's when I was coming up with a name for this, because again, this happened, without me really even knowing that this was happening. Somebody and something was pushing me into this, and it was like, oh, okay. But I knew that the name had to reflect how this was for me, and that it just started with food. I mean, like it starts with the food. That's the first and foremost thing, because you got to start basic self-care with what you're putting in your body. And then it opens the door to so many other parts of your life.
Mm. I love that. Any final thoughts on this today, or?
No, I would like to say one thing, and that is, if people remember the old grandma saying, the old adage, starve a fever, feed a cold. There was a lot of merit to that, and that is because when our bodies have the ability to go into that fasting stage, it can use all its energy to go to healing the body. So when you've got food in your digestion system, that's where all the energy in the body goes. It's a big organ, and it takes a lot of work and a lot of focus for the body's ability to do that. So if you think about that, if you're sick, a lot of times when you're really sick, you don't feel like eating. Pay attention, because your body's telling you, stop eating, let me heal, let's kick this thing in the butt. And then you can go back to eating again, and kind of keeping that in mind might make it a little easier to go through, any kind of fasting periods, and get over maybe that mental block that this has been around for a long time. Grandma said it, grandma's been saying this for many, many years.
Right. I love that. I love that. Yeah. How you bring that correlation back, and how those truths, are really have been tested by time, haven't they?
Hey, we haven't done it. No new discoveries. It's just rediscovering, I think.
We stand on the shoulders of giants for sure.
Yes,
Even
yes,
little grandmas.
yes, yes, true.
Well, this has been amazing. I'm gonna have to really think about my food intake and how I'm gonna handle this now.
Well, I'm here, Pete. You know where to find me.
Okay, Don.
And by the way, so the website is going to be live next week, finally. But in the meantime, I'm all over Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. It starts with the food. Reach out. You know how to get a hold of me.
I love it. Anything fun on the website we should be looking at?
There's going to be different events. I'm going to offer different Zoom calls, question and answers. People are going to be able to schedule a one-on-one get to know me call for free, so they can kind of explore, maybe to see if this is something that they're interested in. I'm offering 3 different levels of memberships. I'm going to be doing retreats. I'm going to be doing webinars. I'm going to be doing all sorts of things. And the books are going to be available there as downloads as well. So recipe books, there's recipes. Tonight I'm posting on Facebook my my sugar-free, grain-free plantain chocolate muffins with my sugar-free icing for Valentine's Day. They're fabulous.
Oh my gosh.
And they're teenage boy approved. That's the thing, what I find very interesting is that my clients have said to me, there's a lot of cookbooks out there and there's a lot of, diets that have got really funky recipes and the food's like really weird and strange. I'm like, well, mine are teenage boy approved. If I can't get my teen boys to eat it, there's no way I'm making 2 meals. So that's the beautiful thing. These are already tested.
Amazing. I love that. Well, I appreciate it, Heather. This has been amazing. The Heather Parker It Starts With Food show here on ZCED Online. This has been a blast, and thank you very much.
Thanks, Pete. Always love talking to you.
Yes.